Hello everyone and welcome to Premium PCs. Thanks for joining me here on the first video on this new channel. There have been a lot of interesting things happening in November 2019, including the AMD Ryzen launches, none of which am I going to speak about in this video because I can't afford to have a look at any of it just yet. Now, as this is the first video on the channel, I do want to address some points about the channel going forwards. There have been a lot of nasty rumours going around YouTube about tech channels taking money from Nvidia for putting product placement. So they've been basically taking Nvidia boxes and putting them behind them in the camera, and these tech YouTubers have been getting paid vast sums of money for it. I just want to point out from the offset that we are completely incorruptible on this channel. It's not something that we're planning on engaging in at all, and we basically frown on the entire idea of product placement. Anybody that's going to be doing that is just a complete Nvidia shill. Right then, let's take a look at our first PC. Yes, that's right. It's the Dell Optiplex 755. Originally launched in 2008, this 11-year-old piece of kit was a common sight in a lot of offices and is still a perfectly capable machine for general office work. This model in particular features a socket 775 Intel Pentium D 2GHz processor, 2GB of DDR2 800MHz memory, a whopping 8GB hard drive, and an onboard graphics chipset so outdated that it can't process Direct 3D and even struggles to play a YouTube video. So, what exactly am I doing with such an out-of-date PC? Well, obviously we're going to upgrade it and turn it into a gaming rig. What else is there to do on a tech channel? But before I do that, let's have a look at a few of the benchmarks in its standard configuration. A whopping 85 on Cinebench, completed in just over 8 minutes. 50 megabits per second data transfer speed on Crystal Diskmark for the hard drive, and a complete failure to run any Direct 3D benchmarks. I guess it's time we looked at the upgrades. To bring this old thing up to date, we're going to throw in the Intel Core 2 Quad Q9550 2.83GHz quad-core processor, 8GB of DDR2 800MHz RAM, and the Nvidia GT 1030 from Palette. Not the world's best gaming card, but quite literally the biggest and best card I can reasonably fit inside the Optiplex's small case. I've also got a new SSD and a larger hard drive to put in there, which I completely forgot to film. And since this is the first video, we're going to do a little bit more than just upgrade the hardware. We're going to do something crazy with the outside as well, just for the hell of it. So, without further ado, let's cue the build montage.
The old Optiplex has been completely transformed from its dated and worn office aesthetic by using a combination of paint and vinyl wrap. Its new white and wood exterior has a much more modern feel and also ties in nicely with the decor of its new home. Even though this thing doesn't have a side window, the interior has been completely transformed as well to tie the whole PC together. Even the purple accented cable sleeving matches the colour of the custom made LED cooling fan. But it's not all for show. The hardware upgrades have made a significant impact to the system's performance as well, with the Core 2 Quad giving 3.5 times the performance in Cinebench and the new SSD giving 5 times the original read and write speed of the old hard drive, maxing out the motherboard's SATA bandwidth. The GT1030 has made a surprisingly large impact for a low-end card. After letting MSI Afterburner do its thing with an OC scan, giving us a boosted core clock performance curve, and applying a 300 MHz boost to the memory clock, the Optiplex is now by comparison an absolute gaming beast, giving a very playable 40 FPS average on Skyrim Special Edition at 1080p low settings. Fallout New Vegas at 1080p medium settings achieved a solid 60 frames per second, which turned out to be quite unfortunate for Easy Pete. Spyro Reignited Trilogy was probably the worst of the games I tested, which wasn't surprising for a 2019 release on a largely 2008 system, but we were still getting a decently playable experience at 1080p low settings. The best performers, however, were the older games like Burnout Paradise, which ran absolutely perfectly with fully maxed out settings at 1080p. The GT1030 may be a low-end card, but it is a great indicator of just how far GPU technology has advanced over the years, considering that back in 2008, you needed a mid to upper tier graphics card to play this game. Our bottom of the line GPU barely even broke a sweat, running a solid 60 frames per second without missing a beat. Even though it's now 11 years old, Burnout still looks great and is amazing fun to play. There's just something incredibly satisfying about smashing up cars in Paradise City. But we all know the most important thing for a budget console replacement build like this is having fun. Rocket League is always good for a laugh, and it looks great running on the Optiplex. I didn't bother to find out how many frames per second we were getting, as I was too busy losing to care, but it seemed to be running very smoothly, and we didn't notice any frame drops while playing, which was bad news for me as it meant I didn't have any decent excuses for losing.
So there we have it, the old Optiplex 755 has been upgraded inside and out, and it's now a semi-decent gaming machine. So would I recommend that any of you guys go out and get yourself a 755? Absolutely not. The money that you would spend on this, you would pick up an Optiplex 7010, which you could upgrade to have an i7 or an i5 and up to 32 gigabytes of DDR3, which would all be vastly superior than what you could fit into a 755. I just happen to have this lying around and a bunch of spare parts that fit with it. That being said, it was a pretty decent little build and it looks great at the end of the day. And if you have got one of these lying around, why not do it up? It's good for practicing your modding skills with. Right. That wraps it up for this video. What did you guys think of the Optiplex? Would you have done anything differently? Would you have bothered doing it at all? Let me know down in the comments section. If you like the content, please do like and subscribe for more videos coming soon. Until then, see you later.